The news, and I am on ChannelOneNews.com. Some of the stories you'll find on ChannelOneNews.com, and the one, as I always say, is the digits one. So ChannelOneNews.com. Some of the stories you'll find: rebuild markets to modern standards or risk more fires. The Ghana National Fire Service is warning. Other stories you'll find on the page: Medina Red Co fire was discovered through patrol duties. That's according to the Ghana National Fire Service. That means no one called them. Wow. Medina Red Co fire, over 200 structures salvaged. That's according to the Ghana National Fire Service. Business must rise above politics to drive Ghana's progress. That's Afenyo-Markin. Mahama traded Galamsey fight for votes. Ahiagba alleges, and he said this on the show yesterday. Kwewu Business Forum: Mahama unveils plans to transform Afram Plains into agro-processing hub. Kwewu Easter festivities, not just about enjoyment, but building businesses. That's according to our president, John Dramani Mahama. Eric Osai announces exit from internal audit agency. Kwewu Business Forum again, open to all entrepreneurs. That's according to the president. 120 days isn't enough to assess Mahama's government. That's according to Dr. Osai Kwapong. CJ's removal will set a bad precedent, Ahiagba warns. CJ's removal precedent already exists. That's according to Professor Khalid. Musa Dankwa justifies Mahama's strong approval in last survey. Some of the trending stories: Ghana must reset national psyche for hard work and merit. Afenyo-Markin is saying that. Ashaiman Afenyo Road, motorists express excitement over ongoing maintenance works. Volta region residents cry for action as tidal waves continue to swallow homes. Families, chiefs frustrated over unresolved murder cases in northern region. Why Ghana must deepen its strategic ties with China. Those are some of the stories you'll find on the Channel One News page.
Okay, let me move straight to citynewsroom.com. Big story here: Parliament ready to support growth and job creation agenda. Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga speaking there. Also on the Medina fire, National Fire Service calls for boreholes to boost firefighting. The Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Ampim Nyako has been also speaking. He says government to engage transport operators on fare reduction. Minority Leader Afenyo-Markin advocates merit-based opportunities for youth development. Also here, the president says key challenge in business is finding trustworthy workers. And I wonder if for him in his administration, he settled on trustworthy appointees like he's saying here. But I'll see how that goes. And we brought us some stories from the Kwewu Business Forum. We're also here, Mahama urging business leaders to take advantage of emerging global opportunities. Guess who is behind all of this Kwewu Business Forum we've been speaking about a lot right from yesterday up until this morning? The president, according to the president, his friend and co-conspirator Julius Debra, who's chief of staff, conceptualized the Kwewu Business Forum. Apparently, if you read the story, it says not every day enjoyment. Cool. You have to talk about creating opportunities and finding jobs. Interesting. NPP Communications Director Richard Ahiagba says Mahama's soft stance encouraging Galamsey surge. CJ removal must be decided by Parliament. Global Info Analytics Executive Director Musa Dankwa speaking. Mohammed Nazir appointed Deputy Chief or Deputy Executive Secretary of the NIA. There's a really interesting article on President Mahama's first 120-day social contract, and it makes for an interesting read on the citynewsroom.com.
Okay, I'm on graphic.com.gh. Some of the stories: we are turning the corner toward economic recovery. That's according to President Mahama at the Kwewu Business Forum. President Mahama's 5-point action plan to empower entrepreneurs. Playback, the highlights from 2025 Kwewu Business Forum. Dear Gospel, church, musician, music for free or for a fee. That's an article that you can read. iOS 18.4.1, update your iPhone right now to apply this new iOS update. Trump warns U.S. may withdraw from Ukraine peace talks if progress is not achieved. Other stories you'll find on Graphic. President Mahama preaches sacrifice, love, and unity at Good Friday Miracle Service. And Vice President Pukwajiman calls for unity. Not a lot has changed on this page since yesterday. Yeah.
Interesting. I think we can just delve into some of the big headline stories. I'll probably start off with a story from the Coal Business Forum, right? You are being told that the Chief of Staff conceptualized this idea. And to be fair, you know, prior to this, I heard him speak a lot on it. There was a whole presser at the Jubilee House where himself, Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, the President's legal advisor also was there, Marietta Buropon. And in the aftermath of that press conference, he granted, I think, a 30-minute interview to our presidential correspondent, Akosia, who was, you know, just asking questions, you know, posing all the really relevant questions on the Coal Business Forum. And we are being told that beyond just the fun that characterizes the coal celebrations or the Easter celebrations in coal, it's important business, you know, leaders come together, talk about ways to create opportunities, right? So the majority leader was there, the minority leader was there, quite a number of, you know, high-ranking government officials, both in government and in opposition, were at the event. So this headline story says, Parliament ready to support growth and job creation agenda, Ayariga assures Mahama. Majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Ayariga, has assured President John Dramani Mahama of Parliament's commitments to supporting economic growth and the creation of equitable job opportunities. He emphasized that Parliament's various committees will collaborate with sector ministers and businesses to identify challenges and develop effective solutions, addressing leaders and stakeholders in the financial sector at the Coal Business Forum on Saturday, April 19. Ayariga underscored the crucial role of private sector in national development. The story goes on to say he reaffirmed Parliament's readiness to partner with the executive to deliver on development promises. Ayariga added that the committees in Parliament will work closely with relevant ministries and enterprises to shape targeted interventions. So, yes, majority leader says we are ready. You know, bring that business idea, bring that business plan. You know, and we'll be ready to support you. I saw Zoom Lion there. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, he's come under some fire recently. You know, near equal to carry the story around how some assembly members were unhappy with some of the things, you know. But I think they came up with some really forceful, you know, data-backed, you know, responses, and we'll see how that particular one.
At that same Coal Business Forum, I think President John Dramani Mahama outlined, you know, a 5-point action plan that they intend to take, that intend to roll out. For those who missed it, what he said was he's going to expand access to affordable financing through institutions such as the Ghana Development Bank, the Women's Development Bank, which we're yet to see or even hear about.
Please, 51 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the Women's Development Bank.
Yes, boss. And strategic partnership with private financial institutions. The second one he's going to do, graphiconline.com, providing targeted support for SMEs, including access to tailored financing packages, tax incentives, and technical assistance. He's also going to modernize infrastructure, including roads, logistics networks, and digital connectivity to create an enabling environment where businesses can grow and compete effectively. The fourth one, he's going to reduce the cost of borrowing by reforming the credit system and promoting blended finance instruments to make capital more accessible. And the final one, the fifth one, he's going to refocus the financial sector to serve the real economy, shifting emphasis away from government lending and speculative trading toward productive investment in business. And in addition to that action plan, he highlighted the forthcoming Jobs and Skills Compact, a major initiative aimed at aligning education and vocational training with the demands of the job market.
Did you mention the Women's Development Bank?
Yes,
right?
I did.
And he said that was one of the ways we're going to.
Yes, one of the ways that we're going to help people access affordable
politics,
financing.
It's so interesting, right? Because, there was so much noise around it in the build-up to the election, right? And everybody thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
In fact, at the point, we were even told that only women were going to run the bank. And now the Empower, you allocate 51 million Ghana cedis, and you're asking yourself, how much is even the minimum capital requirement to set up a bank? That's in excess of like 400 million, right?
Yeah.
But 51 million has been allocated. And I'm wondering the scope really, how a bank, where there's so much noise being made around it to be expected to run effectively with a budget like that. But we'll see, government communicators have put so many twists to this really, right? So in the coming days, we expect a lot more action in that regard, right? Edo,
Yeah.
the Medina fire, I don't know, sometimes in the media, when some of these things happen, you tend to now hear about it a lot more. I don't know whether it is really the case or there's a serious emerging problem of fire outbreaks, right? Because first quarter, top of my head, the Cantamanto one was in December, right?
Was it in January?
I think January.
It was in January because we were in the newsroom and then we heard it and we rushed there. Yeah, it was New Year.
New Year.
It was in the New Year.
Not long after then, there was some wood market that got burnt.
In Tamale.
Tamale.
Yeah, Tamale Timber Market.
The timber market got burnt. Then, of course, the very famous recent one, Edum. But even before Edum.
Even before Edum, there was another one also in Kumasi.
Exactly,
Yes.
And there was even one in Accra, some other place somewhere in Accra.
Somewhere. And I think Takrady as well had their share.
Probably.
And I remember at a point in the newsroom, I was saying, why it's becoming a trend. Every January, you must move from region to region for fire outbreaks. I mean, it's a dry season then. So I remember the Ghana National Fire Service telling people to be cautious of, because they cook in the markets with all manner of things. So they were giving, sounding caution when you cook or if you have to cook.
You have to be
cautious of, the fire and the things that you use around you. And also the wiring within the markets had also come up. So, yeah.
The scale of the Catamanto one and the Doom Pizza one, I'm very, I'm not sure, right? Considering the scale of the fire we saw at these two really huge markets or trading centers. But for me, I don't want us to be quick into saying whether there's a trend or not, right? Because we've not analyzed what it was prior. But clearly, it's a cause for alarm. And now you have to deal with Medina fires too as well.
Yeah.
And this way, I got told that it was their own
through their patrol that they discovered
so maybe
that fire.
They seem to be, at least there's hope,
Oh, when you say there's hope, like...
But we know the state of the Ghana National Fire Service.
Okay. And so if they're doing patrols.
So if they're able to identify fire as a result of their internal systems, right? I think that is a right step in the right direction. But the most important point really is how they are able to effectively deal with the fire. You have that story about the patrol.
Yeah, I do. A bit of that story in ChannelOneNews.com reads, the Ghana National Fire Service has revealed that a fire outbreak in Medina was discovered through routine patrol duties rather than being reported by residents. According to ACFO2 Rashid Nisau, the Greater Accra Regional Commander of GNFS, in an interview on the Channel One newsroom on Saturday, April 19, firefighters on Station Outlook duty spotted the blaze around 23:15 hours at Redco, a location known for its makeshift structures occupied predominantly by female Nigerian residents. Upon arrival at 23:17 hours, personnel observed that the fire had already reached a developed stage, prompting immediate calls for reinforcements. Fire stations from Adenta, Legon, Abelimpe, and even the national headquarters swiftly joined the efforts. A total of 5 fire appliances were deployed to combat the raging flames. Despite their prompt response, the fire claimed the life of 1 individual. The victim, identified only as Beauty, tragically succumbed to the disaster by 0:17 hours, exactly 1 hour after its discovery. The fire had been brought under control. He says, Nisau, ACFO2 Nisau says, nobody reported this fire to us. These days, we embark on patrol duties. So at 23:15 hours, we call something station outlook, or men were on their usual patrols, and then they saw that the fire had erupted around the Redco Down. There were these, Redco Down, where these female Nigerians reside. in makeshift structures. And then that's when they called in other reinforcements to come and help fight the fire.
Amazing.
Do you know the fire service number?
I have it on my phone. I have it on speed dial on my phone. So, yeah.
Because I'm thinking
I have it for the police. I have it for...
If they're predominantly Nigerian females, then they probably don't know the Ghana National Fire Service number. And they do have a number.
Yeah, 19 something.
192, I believe. Yeah. 192.
Yeah.
Ghana National Fire Service. Yeah. 192. 192.
It'll shock you, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. You're welcome, by the way. 192. 192. Keep it in your. It's a simple number. 192.
It can be the difference between life and
death.
You know,
at any point.
And distraction and
192. And police is what? 191.
Yeah.
And there's another one that's 193. Ambulance?
Ambulance, yeah.
So yeah.
You try.
I try. But you see, sometimes when you're in such a situation, you might not even recall it. So at least put it on speed dial on your phone. You never know when you'll need that number. Hopefully not at any time soon. I
know. Remember the Kumasi mayor and his comment around flogging people who were adhering to directives from the assembly, right?
It was a whole issue this week. I mean, well, last week or in a new week.
Well, you know, it's still
trending.
Yeah, people are not happy with his comments, and the Conventions People Party are the latest to wade into this matter, and they've called on the president to immediately reassign the Kumasi Mayor Richard Ofori Ajimambodi following his controversial threat to use corporal punishment against traders flouting city directives. The party described the mayor's comments as threatening to beat traders. The party described the mayor's comment threatening to beat traders who defy the assembly's orders inhumane and irresponsible, arguing that such an approach to sanitizing Kumasi Central Business District renders him unfit for office. Speaking in an interview with the Ghana news agency, Nana Akosua Frimpong Sapon Kumankuma, the CPP's flag bearer in the 2024 presidential election, firmly condemned the mayor's comment, insisting that the use of corporal punishment is unacceptable and ineffective in addressing urban challenges. The welfare of humanity should be at the center of every policy we implement, and that's a direct quote from the 2024 CPP flag bearer, Madam Nana Akosua Frimpong Sapon Kumankuma. So it goes on and on and on and on. You know, I
hear. What were your thoughts when you heard that?
It's flags in the face of what the Constitution says in dealing with, you know, people who offend the law, right? And to say that he was going to, you know, mete out instant justice like that, I think it was inappropriate. And some people have said that it's a stark reminder of, you know, a part of our history that we want to be very quick to forget, right? And, you know, bringing back, you know, something like that. And for a lot of people, it was also like the way he even went about saying it, right? It's like so casually, the disregard, you know, and I don't think it sits down all people. Yes, we want our cities to be cleaner. Yes, we want our cities to be orderly. You know, we want things to work effectively, you know, and that is the hard job of leadership, right? That is why you are being paid, to think outside the box, to bring on board innovative ways to go about doing that. But, you know, not to...
I recall when I was listening to CBS, and they were discussing this particular issue, and people kept sending in, oh, they agree with him, you know, we're stubborn
we like people, to romanticize...
blah, blah, blah. And then Bernard was like, you agree with him.
Until it's you.
Until it's you.
Exactly.
And when it is you, do not call CBS or send us a message that you have been whipped for being where you're not supposed to be. I was actually, when I heard it, I was like, no, this is wrong. Yeah, you're frustrated because it's been done over and over again, and yet they will return. But what's the alternative for them? If you create an alternative space for them to move, because that's their livelihood we're talking about. If you haven't given them anywhere else to go, where do you expect them to go and, you know, trade? So definitely they'll come back after a day or two when they realize that the people who are patrolling the area have gone back. So yeah, I'll definitely go back to where I get my daily bread
really say,
if you haven't given me an alternative.
Did he really say if they had
his boys?
You owned stray cows who were, that can also be a nuisance though. If you owned stray cows,
yeah,
catch it and kill it and serve it to prisoners.
That one, they agree with him.
You can't.
What are cows doing in our cities? You don't agree with
that? It goes back to the point you just made.
You don't agree with that?
No, I don't.
No, but these herdsmen have fields.
You know,
or
you can't agree with one and support
the other.
You can't disagree with one and support the other. They are both, they both fly in the face of what the law prescribes as punishment.
Yeah, for the cows, they agree with him.
Yeah, as much of a nuisance as it is, what was the law saying? What are the punitive measures for breaking some of our bylaws? Go according to it, not your personal discretion. Next time, it won't be cows, it will be your car when you are wrongly parked and you say he's confiscating it to go and give to some orphanage.
He did not say that, so he cannot do that.
I'm saying that's how it starts. Nice cows, right?
Yeah.
The next time it is a bicycle who is riding at an undesignated. The next time is your car.
But we don't have bicycle lanes.
The point really is to just curb the flagrant. I don't want to say strong man behavior.
Anytime
but
somebody
like the,
comes to read a message,
the
they should write down
of
what
it.
they want to say.
Pardon?
I said when they want to, read a message or tell us something, I think they should write down their points so they don't stray. Because I think when they get excited, then they stray off course.
I think the mayor is an experienced person.
They bring things. Zuba is experienced.
He
was
understands the system. He's been around for a while. He understands how some of these things in the assembly, for example, should work. I think sometimes, the exuberance of coming to office fresh takes the better part of you.
Put your points down.
So I'm sure he'll bounce back. He came back to, I think he apologized, right? And we rehashed, he clarified his position.
What he was saying.
Tidied up what he was saying. So we wish him well. Yeah. We need Kumasi to work. It's our second largest.
There's
hope.
There's
hope.
And we'll leave it at that. There's hope for us all. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away.